I'm Alec Rivers. I'm a co-founder of Shaper. We're making a new kind of digital power tool. I have a PhD in computer science from MIT. I was actually doing my PhD on something pretty unrelated, but inherited my granddad's woodworking power tools when I was, in my spare time. Tried to make some projects, was really bad at them, realized I could take some of the skills from my CS PhD, put them in sort of intelligent robotic power tools, and help me become a much better woodworker than I was on my own, and so switched my whole PhD into working on that instead. The amazing thing about 3D printers is that you can send them a digital file and they will just make whatever you want straight from that file really accurately, no matter how complicated the shape is. We're trying to take that same digital ability and put them in power tools. So our power tools are almost like little handheld robots. You send them a file of something that you want to make with them, and then you're still moving them around in sort of the gross scale, but it's helping you in real time, doing little bits of actuation and guidance, so that no matter how complex the shape is, you can cut it out to about 1/100th of an inch accuracy right from the digital plan. You've got to have a really fast onboard processor and computer vision systems, and it's just getting way cheaper and easier to develop those now. 5 years ago, you probably could have built it, but it would have cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Nowadays, you can throw a $5 Raspberry Pi on there, a cheap computer vision camera, and get prototypes rolling for under $1,000. The technology out there that does digital fabrication has always, since day one, been a gantry-based system, and people are locked into the mindset of something is totally manual or it's totally automatic. And so a 3D printer or a CNC machine, they're a big bed machine. You put your work on the bed, and it does all the work around it, and it completely surrounds whatever you're building or cutting. So the original idea that we had was the idea of this hybrid system where the user is still moving the tool around over the broad scale, and it's just doing the fine digital correction of their motion. And truthfully, I think it's just an original idea. We just built out 10 of our units, and we've got them in the field with beta users ranging from people who are using them to make a living through to people who are just doing DIY projects around the house. The beta user that I like the story of the most is a guy who was always interested in getting into sort of DIY and maker type stuff, but never had a shop of his own or anything, didn't have a lot of space. He lived in a condo in SF. He got the tool, converted half of his bedroom into an impromptu workshop. He was using the tool 10 hours a day, and he wouldn't give it back when we needed to do updates to it. He went that way for a couple weeks, and then eventually he said, look, I want to come work with you guys. So now he works for us almost full time. So initially we're going to go into sort of the maker and DIY space. And that's already a pretty big market actually these days. Even though it sounds like a niche thing, it's actually already pretty big. But ultimately I'd love to see us get much more into the construction industry, which is, multiple trillion-dollar business that really hasn't seen any productivity increases in 10 years. So I think there's a lot of potential for digitizing the tools that people use in that space, and not just making the tools better and smarter, but accessing the adjacent markets using the tools as kind of a gateway